All right then. Okay, just tell me if the screen is visible. Screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
visible.
You're getting some external noise of the birds, right? I'm sitting outside and taking class. Is it disturbing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So incentive. I'm saying the intensive care is a highly specified and sophisticated area of hospital which is specifically designed, staffed, located, furnished, and equipped, dedicated to management of critically ill patients, injuries, or complications. Okay, so basically, we design that this kind of setup for the patient who are critically ill. All right, so it is emerging as a separate specialty and can no longer be regarded purely as a part of anesthesia, medicine, surgery, or any other specialty. Yes, so it is by intensive care unit itself. It is evolving as a separate specialty. Okay, it is not mandatory that only anesthesia and medicine and surgery people. For surgery there will be a particular place where the critical ill patient will be treated. No, this is the ICU where general patients with critical care can be admitted and those people can be treated. Okay, and intensive care may be broadly defined as a service for patients who have potentially recoverable conditions. Okay, why we are saying this? That we admit those people who has a chance of recovery. Okay, but also if there is no chance of recovery, there is it's not what to say. um uh, if there is no recovery chance, still we admit those patients in the ICUs for care. Okay, and there is another service which is rehabilitation. Okay, there are some patients whom we know that they are not going to get improved at all, or what is that? They are not going to get improved in any sense. For example, cancer patient, what kind of care do we give to the care what is that cancer patient? Doctors would be knowing about it. So tell me what kind of,
Palliative care, ma'am.
sorry,
Ma'am, palliative care.
palliative, right? Palliative.
Palliative care.
Yeah, so basically we are just palliating the palliative care we are giving, just relieving their symptoms, giving them sedatives, giving them some kind of measures that they can get relief from their pain, but we know the fact that they are not gonna get recovered, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, in the so we most of the time see the patient who are stable, cancer patient who are stable, and they would be admitted to some cancer wards. We know the fact that she or he is in fourth stage, but what to say, some kind of palliative care should be given to them. But we know their life, what is their life expectancy is very less, but we do give some kind of care for them. So, who can benefit from more detailed observation and invasive treatment then can be provided safely in an ordinary ward or high dependency area. So, now what we have to understand is that a people no, the patient who got admitted in the ICU, first thing is that to give him or her proper care whatever it is needed. Later on, we what to say, later on we can shift that patient if the patient is okay, if the patient is actually recovering. Later on we can directly shift the patient to the ward, or if not ward then at least HDU. Okay, So ICU is a specific area of the hospital where sophisticated monitoring, titrated life support, specific therapy, and specialized nursing can be best provided. Now, can you tell me, I mean, what kind of nurses would be there in the ICU setup? Or maybe you can tell me what are their qualifications.
And critical care nurses used to during the ICU setup.
Yeah, critical care nurses used to be there, but do you think ANMs will be allotted in the ICU?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah,
They should be specified in the BSc nursing mainly.
BSc nursing and GNM as well, who are
GNM also
uh,
uh, with the diploma of critical care.
yeah. So those people would only be allowed in ICUs. Okay. Now, when why I'm saying all these things, because it is important when you go for accreditation. Okay. अब सोच लो किसी गुवाहाटी में कोई छोटा सा हॉस्पिटल है और वो लोग एक्रेडिटेशन के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं बट इन आईसीयू मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर जीएनएम्स एंड एएनएम्स ओके सो डू यू थिंक दे दोज पीपल विल बी गेटिंग द सर्टिफिकेशन नो राइट
No, ma'am.
डिड यू गेट माई क्वेश्चन आर द पीपल
No, ma'am.
you didn't get it
Yes,
so
ma'am.
there is a
Yes,
small
ma'am.
there is a small hospital in Guwahati. Now you are applying for accreditation. For example, NABH accreditation. Okay. In their hospital in ICUs, most of the staffs are either ANMs or GNMs, and that too there is no critical. What is that? They do not have diploma in critical care. So, do you think that those people would be getting accreditation?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, why no? Because in the policies it is there that so along with that one more thing is important that those whoever is practicing they should be registered nurse. Okay, they cannot be anyone else but they should be registered. Their what is that? Their registration has to be valid. Okay, so that is why if any hospital who is already having NABH accreditation जब ऑडिट के लिए आते हैं तो they check everyone's registration is valid or not. If somebody has got expired, they have to go for renewal. Okay, so these are the policies which are being followed. Okay, and these has to be always keep in your mind. You as a hospital administrator, for example, you got posted in some hospital in Delhi or in Bangalore where NABH accreditation is there. Okay, before the audit comes, you have to make sure all the nurses in your hospital has to be registered, and you have to check the validity also whether they are valid at this on this particular year or not. Got it? So high, this is yeah, ICU is highest level of patient care, and critical care unit is also highest level of patient care. It is a place and not a form of treatment. Yes, ICU is not a form of treatment, but it is a place where critical care is given. So patients whose condition is life threatening and need constant close monitoring and support from equipments, medications, and to keep the normal body function going. So we basically connect all the equipments and whatever close monitoring is needed. We would be doing each and everything in this particular unit. Okay, and there should not be any discrimination regarding sex, religion, or race or anything. Based upon those, there should not be any discrimination. It has to be 1 second. Yeah. So it has to be equally distributed. The care should be equally distributed to all of the people. Okay. Maybe we can discriminate when the patient is in much emergency than the other person. Okay. That is not called as in discrimination, but that is basically the triage. You are understanding who is more important at this point of time and giving care at that point of time is a presence of mind, and it is a good way of delivering care. Okay, so determining factor is a criticality of the patient and availability of the high dependency unit. You will discuss later on in the slides. So let's see how this concept has actually evolved from the future. No, sorry, from the past. Okay. So this intensive care. Do you think that intensive care unit was from before in the past years? It was there in the hospitals already. No, right? The concept of hospital itself came later on. Earlier it was like only treating the patients. Florence Nightingale was there. She started everything. We actually thank her for that. She is the one who got the concept of care. Okay, she treated the patient who got ill in the war, during the war. Whoever was ill, whoever was injured, she was the one who was taking care. Each and everyone, she was the one who was taking care. And later on, she whatever knowledge she had, she have given to the other people also, and they also tried to look after those people who were sick. Okay, but this intensive care unit, it got more popular uh, during the time of 1952. Okay, in Copenhagen. So in Copenhagen, when there was a poliomyelitis outbreak, at that point of time, this intensive care unit has came into existence. Now, every time when there is outbreak, we tend to discover some of the very, what to say, uh, we tend to discover some of the methods of protecting ourselves, or maybe preventing ourselves from the diseases. Okay, I think a very, I mean, like, I do not remember the time when this flu came. Like, flu also was an outbreak. Okay, cold and cough which you are having right now, not the COVID one, normal, उससे पहले आप लोग जिस cold and cough से suffer कर रहे थे, that also came into existence very, what to say, uh, many years ago, like a lot many years ago. So that point of time, they discovered that hand hygiene and wearing mask would be one of the factor that is going to help us from staying away from the microorganism. Okay, so and then again, the new diseases are coming in, and we are learning new things every time. Okay, so during this COVID, what you people have learned? What are the things which is new than other time? What is the new thing which you have learned during this COVID situation? Is there any new thing which you have learned, or any new invention which has happened during this time, during COVID?
COVID vaccines.
Yeah, COVID vaccine is a new thing, but that comes every time. Like every time any new diseases come, at that point of time, we do have a vaccine, right? But other than that, any measures in care, any particular thing which got popular very much?
Wearing
Ma'am,
masks.
quarantine care, ma'am.
Yeah, quarantine. This is the most, what to say, important thing, which is earlier also they used to do quarantine. Okay, earlier also they used to do quarantine, but this has become more popular during this time. Now anytime, if a person, even if you think that a person is having normal flu, people are going to say, for some days you stay in your room. We are going to give all the care from outside only. You stay at room only because you're okay, but we don't want to catch that thing from you, so you stay as quarantine. This is one of the new thing we have learned, and it actually helps a lot. It actually helps a lot, while
मैम पहली बार सुना कोविड के टाइम पे.
नहीं, पहले से है मोनिरुल, दिस क्वारंटाइन इज देयर
पता
ऑलरेडी.
पता है मैम, लेकिन पहली बार सुना था.
हाँ, the word is being used in a frequent manner. Earlier we used to say it as isolation, right? Everyone, we used to call it as
Yes ma'am.
isolation. What about other people? Do you people have anything to tell? I mean, you got anything extra which you have noticed during this time and never noticed before? Can you hear me all?
Proper sanitation.
Yes ma'am.
Lockdown.
Huh?
Proper
Lockdown,
sanitation.
ma'am.
Ma'am,
Lockdown. Yeah.
social distance.
Who said lockdown?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Masrura? You said lockdown.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's right. Yeah, lockdown is a new concept. It's a new concept. It has been
Ma'am,
scaring people actually. Yeah.
ma'am, pandemic never faced in my life.
No, you did
Just
not.
read in the books.
Yeah, yeah. You read in the books, but it was existing, right? It was existing
Yeah.
somehow. जैसे कि Ebola also was about to become pandemic, okay? But as it was, what to say, managed in so well mannered that it don't come out from Africa. You know, right? Ebola is much more deadlier than this disease. Ebola was much more deadlier than COVID. Okay, but somehow the management of Ebola was so good in Africa that it did not came out actually. Okay, otherwise it would have been a dangerous thing to even you know how Indian populations are. Over here, if you say something, people are never going to listen to it. Okay, so and also this situation which we are facing in COVID right now is also because we have illiteracy rate a lot. We have illiterate people whom even if you want, even if you what to say, tell thousand times to be in isolation, to follow all the guidelines, they will not listen to us. So these are the factors which are increasing the problem a lot. Yeah. So so basically our thing is that intensive care unit as a whole actually got introduced during 1952, and from then it got popular. From then it got became popular as a single unit which is giving care to the critical care patients. Okay, now critical patients. So a capital intensive care, but it is a saving lives which now it is saving lives which otherwise would not have been possible, and it's even contributing with precision to perception of future course of disease and to instituting remedial measures well ahead of time to patients requiring critical care therapies. Now, for example, if I say if we do not have the concept of critical care unit or intensive care unit, then what we would have done? It got came into existence because of something, right? अगर हमको पता ही नहीं होता तो फिर क्या होता? तो फिर क्या होता बताना. This whole system would have collapsed. Okay, why? Because we would be treating that critical patients in the wards. Okay, so in the wards, ward concept was there from a longer time that I told you during the Florence Nightingale time only. Okay, so वहाँ पे आप ये concept ऐसा होता कि in the ward who are critical, they are getting each and everything, uh, then there would have been a lot of managerial issues. Okay, the whole system would have been collapsed. That's why we need a separate place for critical patients and the people who are actually okay, and they what to say, and they can just get normal care, but these people would be taken care much more than the people who are in the wards. Okay, so these are just introductions. I can skip it, not a problem. If you want to read the slides, you can read, not a problem. We would be seeing the capabilities of ICU. Okay, so capabilities means what are the things which are there in the ICUs that is making ICU different than the any other unit of hospital. Okay, so let's see what are the capabilities we have in ICUs. The first is ventilatory, basic ventilatory care and the advanced ventilatory care. Both of the things are available in ICUs. Okay, all the circulatory needs are being addressed in the ICUs. Neurological patients who are too much in trouble, and basically most of the time neuro patients are what to say kept in ICUs because they do not know what they are doing. They do not know what they are doing, right? And renal patients who are critically ill, those people would also are admitted in the ICUs because they need dialysis and some of the important things which are not being given in the some of the important care which are not being given in the wards. The sufficient workload means the ratios of nurses and the patient and the doctors and the patients. Okay, sufficient workload should be there because over
मैम
here the
आपका
patient.
वॉइस क्लियर नहीं आ रहा है, माइक में प्रॉब्लम है शायद।
Hello, Abhi.
मैम एक्स्ट्रा नॉइज आ रहा है, मतलब स्पीकर से।
Hello.
बैकग्राउंड नॉइज नहीं, स्पीकर का नॉइज है मैम।
Now
आ रहा है कंटिन्यूअसली।
I don't know. Maybe because there is
बिकॉज ऑफ हेडफोन्स मैम,
no
हेडफोन्स
no
वजह
I
से।
don't have I didn't put headphone.
शायद शायद मनीरुल तुम्हारा प्रॉब्लम है, मैम का तो हम लोग सुन रहे हैं।
पता नहीं,
আমি তো
थोड़ा
একো প্রবলেম পোৱা নাই।
थोड़ा হ'ব পাৰে तो।
एक बार मनीरुल तुम्हारा माइक ऑफ करके ऑन करो फिर से, या तो फिर से कनेक्ट कर लो अपने आप को।
ठीक है मैम।
हाँ ठीक है। So sufficient workload in the sense the ratios of nurses and doctors which is being which is being distributed properly, and the load should be lesser than the wards and the other areas because they have much more critical patients than any other area. Okay, so multidisciplinary care means we are also seeing the emotional need of the patient, we are seeing the physical need and the mental need of the patient. So all these things should be just because the patient is admitted in the ICU doesn't mean all the time we are what to say giving care only, not talking to the patient, not giving the relaxation therapy and all, right? So we have to take care of other things as well. For example, if a patient who is sick but then he is young or just can talk a lot or something like that, maybe the nurses would be talking to him to make him relax, right? So all these kind of cares are also being given along with the critical care. Okay, effective communication. So earlier also I mentioned that effective communication means the policies which are being followed to use the communication, right? That everything has to be documented, whatever is done, whatever care is being taken, all the things has to be documented, right? And also there should be what to say if somebody is giving verbal order, never to take that verbal order. Each and everything should be what is that documented. If and also the insulin orders and the medication orders or the critical value of the labs should be read back, should be practiced by the read back policy. We have to ask again and then confirm and then document that particular information. Okay, so adequate administration, technology, and secretarial support. Yes, all the supportive system, all the supportive care from the other areas, auxiliary and ancillary areas are also very important. Okay, so continue dedication and training. Yes, that is why the nurses are having continue nursing what is that education, and doctors are also having CME. Okay, so these are always needed to, for example, any new rare disease has come, how to handle those diseases. like now अभी जो जिनका भी हॉस्पिटल में कोविड वार्ड या फिर कोविड यूनिट सेटअप किया है, उनके नर्सेस को पहले ट्रेनिंग दिया जाएगा कि आप ये पीपी फॉलो करोगे, आप क्या बोलते हैं हैंड वॉश टेक्निक अच्छे से फॉलो करोगे, you would not be what to say touching the vital what is that body fluids, and not like you have to change the whole PPE kit again. So if you touch the body fluid, you have to change each and everything. So there are things which are what to say, which are trained by the hospital professionals uh, to the people who are going to take care of the patients, right? So for ICUs also, all the time, the maybe I remember these people in the week they used to do one briefing program each week, and and also this continuous nursing education is also there. For medical personnel also CME is there. Apart from that, other training programs also happens. When you go to hospital next time, you people can ask to the hospital organization that how often they used to conduct the training for ICU staffs, and what kind of trainings do you give and all, right? So next time when you go to hospital, you can just go and ask them, right? Next is audit of its activities. Yes, audit is one of the most important activity that is being followed in the what is there in the hospital. If you are not doing audit, you don't get that whether you are performing properly or not, or you are making any mistakes or not. To find out those, audit is being conducted. Okay. So selection of the patient. Now this is very important part where I might ask you questions in exams. So how do we actually select the patient? We do not have a scorecard that this is the particular score achieved by this person, so we would be admitting this patient to the ICU. ठीक है, ऐसा कोई स्कोर कार्ड है क्या guys?
No, ma'am.
There is no particular scorecard or rating scale that we can rate the patient and send the patient to the ICU, isn't it? There is no scores or rating scale by following which we can admit the patient to the ICU. It has to
मैम
be,
होना चाहिए था ना
sorry,
मैम ग्लासको को मास्क है GCS
GCS,
मैम
ma'am.
मैम
कौन बोला, ये कौन बोला
मैम रेटिंग सिस्टम तो होना
ग्लासको कोमा स्केल कौन बोला?
हेलो मैम
हम्म
GCS स्कोर
No, that is when the patient is already admitted in the this one. What is that ICU? But that is not the criteria of admitting the patient. Okay, that is not the criteria of admitting the patient to the ICU. For example, a person who is very much conscious, okay, and he does not have any kind of neurological problem at that point of time, but the person is continuously vomiting continuously, emesis is there for that person. Now we do not know, and also with the vomiting you have what is blood is coming out. What do you think, it should be your own what to say decision, or it is the score or rating that you listen to it? it has to be the gut feeling. Most of the time it is the gut feeling by which the patients are getting admitted to the ICUs. Okay, yes, there are scores, there are rating, but ऐसा कोई rating नहीं है कि ओ अच्छा ठीक है the patient is on this rating and needs ICU care. Okay, ऐसा नहीं है. Okay, you have rating for checking consciousness, you have ratings for you have scales to understand the neurological status of the patient, but it is not, there is no scale where it is telling that this person is actually what to say, it should be admitted to ward, it should be admitted to the ICU, it should be admitted to the critical care unit. ऐसा कोई particular scale नहीं है. ठीक है, those scales you can use, but also it has to be your own decision that whether this person is in critical need or not. Now we'll be seeing some of the what is that, some of the factors which would be important factors to select those kind of patient for ICUs. Okay, see these factors, understand this, and then you'll get to know. Depends not only on medical factors but also on financial, ethical, moral, and societal values. Now, see, not only on the medical factors. When I say not only on the medical factor, that means there are other multidimensional factor which are associated with it to when you admit the patient to the ICU. Okay, patient expected to survive. Patient who is expected to survive at that point of time, even if the person's even if the person is however ill, but he is expected to survive, we have to admit that person in the ICU. Okay, he or she wants to survive at that point of time, we cannot say no to any kind of care, so we have to admit the patient in the ICU. Patient potentially recoverable. Now how do you understand recover that whether that patient is recoverable or not? That is the general physician, that is the what is that intensivist who would be seeing the patient, and they would understand, okay, there is a chance or there is a possibility that the person would get recovered. So this is that. Now if we give proper support to the patient, if we give proper critical care, these people would be recovering, right? So this is also one of the criteria. Patient having uncertain prognosis. Okay, uncertain prognosis. Now those patients who are in H2 and wards, we are going and seeing the patients every day and understanding the person's prognosis is going lower every day. The person is not recovering properly just because we are not giving critical care to the patient. So that person also would be shifted to the ICU. Not likely to survive whatever is done. Okay, not likely to survive whatever is done, but still that person has expectations to survive, then the person would be admitted to the ICU. Okay, and patient in which death is apparently imminent. What is that now? Can anyone tell me? Guys, इसका मीनिंग कोई बोलेगा?
Very severe patient.
Yeah,
Serious patient, ma'am.
very very severe patient, those who are like anything might happen anytime, right? वैसे वाले patient, anything might, like tomorrow also that person might die, within 2 hours also that patient might die. At that point of time we have to we have to ship the patient to the ICU. There is no other choice. Okay, so these are the selection criterias we are actually considering. But yes, there are some of the scales which we can use, but that is to understand the condition of the patient. But it is not to consider how on that particular scale we have to admit the patient to the ward, to the ICUs, or to other places. Okay, so this is size and all. So size and all we would be reading in the